Today, we're going to talk about the book Made to Stick by the Heath Brothers. So, what was your main takeaway from that book?
So, Harish, before that, I'm going to tell you a story. This is a story about David Ogilvy, the legendary ad man. And the story goes that every day he would walk to work and he would pass a beggar. The beggar had a sign that said, I am blind, please help me. So, David Ogilvy saw this. And one day, he took a pen and he modified the line. He said, it's spring and I am blind. Please help me. And apparently, the beggar got a lot more donation that day because people were moved by this plight of the beggar. Made to Stick is about the fact that why we remember stories like this and why a small intervention can actually make something memorable, make something called sticky. So the biggest takeaway I had from this book, I would divide it into two parts. One is the tactical takeaway and one is the strategic one. The tactical one is a framework that they call SUCCES, SUCCES. It stands for simple, unexpected, concrete, credible, emotional, and story. Elements of all these you will, notice in the story that I just told you. It is a very simple story. The emotion is at the heart of, and it is full of concrete details about a legendary ad. So the strategic takeaway for me was that we often fail to strive for memorability. We forget that our brains are not designed to remember everything that comes in front of it. And so we as creators or communicators, we need to strive that extra mile to make something sticky in the minds of our audience.
That's, I think, a very nice way of actually giving me the essence of that book, Ramanan. So, how and where do we end up using elements that we've picked up from Made to Stick in our work?
So Made to Stick, according to us, is like the part of a foundational treatise of choose to think and up-leveling and future relevance. Communication is timeless. People have always been trying to get better at communication, and that should be part of your stack for the future. In fact, we like Made to Stick so much that it actually inspired our name, Choose to Think. With rhyme. The way you think about this is that any situation where you're making any kind of communication, whether to influence, whether to help someone learn, whether to make a pitch, Made to Stick will find a role in that. So to give you one example, we once built a microsite for one of our clients to help them influence their community, their employees, their audiences about the different cultural value that exist in that company. And what better way to do that using stories? And we had that confidence because we knew Made to Stick and we had a framework with which to apply it. Helped us create the right kind of concrete examples, use surprise and unexpectedness in interesting ways. And we remembered to use the right kind of emotion.
And what are people, whether they are individuals or leaders, what are they missing out by not knowing these ideas from Made to Stick?
So all of us, when we interact, when we put out an idea into the world, and a lot of people listening to this will be creative, innovative people. You don't want your ideas to go out there and just land the third or worse, be forgotten, right? So we often are guilty of not leaving an impression. We think that we have conveyed a point and we walk away. But as I told you, the brain is a sieve. It wants to forget. It has no take in what you wanted to tell. So our job to leave that impression. So what a lot of people are missing out is that they are going to be forgotten. So if you don't want that to happen to you and your ideas, I think you should read and implement Matrix.
And if you were to give me one reason why this should be one of my smart levers that I depend upon, what would be that one line be?
So I think Made to Stick teaches you to be human in your communication. We are very guilty of writing long answers in an exam or using jargon. We just forget the fact that we are communicating always for humans. And keeping these six elements in mind teaches you a lot about what it is to remain human in communication, adding the right level of emotion, using stories, using concrete examples. All these are important element of human communication, and that's what you will get if you have Made to Stick framework under you.
Okay, so I hope that sticks to our audience, and we'll see you in the next episode.